CBEX incident is not an isolated case, but part of an existing and growing pattern of unregulated and fraudulent schemes that leverages technology, social media to deceive the public, and often using tactics such as referral commissions, celebrity endorsements, and fake testimonials to build credibility and drive recruitment. I'm shocked that despite the scale of operations and visibility of CBEX, it operated for an extended period without facing sanctions by either the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, the CBN, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, and also EFCC. The growing sophistication of such fraudulent platforms, combined with low levels of financial literacy and a lack of access to formal investment opportunities, makes the Nigerian population increasingly vulnerable to such schemes. And resolved to mandate the Joint Senate Committee on Capital Market and Institutions, Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes, and ICT and Cybercrime to conduct a comprehensive investigative hearing, including public hearing on the operations of PONZI schemes in Nigeria, and report back in 4 weeks.
As a parliament that is responsible and responsive to the yearnings and aspirations of the people, that jealously guards and protects the interests of the people, it behoves on us to look at whatever loopholes or lacuna in the existing laws that these PONZI schemes exploit with a view to perpetrating these illegalities. The laws should not only be amended, but should be strengthened in order to take care of these PONZI schemes and nip it in the bud. Against this background, I support the prayer embedded in this motion. Thank you.
I think we should speak for 1 minute, because I can see
our job as legislators is to protect the people that sent us here to represent them. And we do this by making laws, public investigation, and so on. And let me say that citizens trust their country and their leaders. That's why, for example, any one of us here, you can just move into a supermarket, you see a drink, corked, imported anywhere, you don't even know what is inside, whether it's bacteria, poison, but you buy and pick and drink freely. Why? You trust that you have a government that will protect you with our agencies and regulators. We have to continually monitor any financial scheme to protect citizens by holding the NFIU, for example, CBN is there, EFCC, or SEC, all these agencies, that's their job. They must not allow this to always slip. And since this has been slipping, we, the representative of the people, we have to hold them accountable and make sure that this does not slip again.
PONZI, or whatever this is called, is just one out of the numerous online payments that we have. Many of our Gen Z of this world no longer go to the banks. They patronize all these online payment system. A lot of them. PONZI is just one out of the numerous online payments, and hiding under the language, the fintech, that you go through the fintech, that you pay through the fintech, and you make this a pause. They call it pause. You just drop money there, the following money you get the money somewhere else. And they have taken advantage of us as a nation because the regulation is not there. Because I wonder how this monumental fraud will happen to Nigeria when we have a regulator, the Central Bank of Nigeria, in place. And that was why I'm supporting this investigative hearing, because we are only going to be looking at PONZI, but we have so many other online payment platforms that is not mentioned. So we want to ask Central Bank, what are the regulations that you have put in place to protect Nigerians against all these kind of transactions? No other countries of the world you can embark on this kind of item of transaction without necessary regulation in place. We need to find out from the Central Bank of Nigeria. We need to. Aside punishing or going after PONZI, which is one out of the numerous, you can testify that this is not the first or second or third time. And we can't continue in this trend.
The movement of the nation has said, conscious that Section 80, Mr. President, has given the National Assembly the powers to make laws, the conduct of affairs of any person. The catchwords are any person, any authority, any ministry, or government department charged or intended to be charged with the duty of or responsibility for executing or administrating laws enacted by the National Assembly. So Section 80 of the Constitution has given us these powers. But like I said, that's why I keep on commending the Senator. These powers are in place. But for a very long time, we have not been able to utilize these powers, particularly as it affects this PONZI scheme. Rural dwellers, our people, who make ends meet in a very difficult manner, immediately they see this PONZI scheme, they get involved. My constituents, over the years, sir, you give them 10,000, 20,000, instead of actually investing. But when they see a PONZI scheme that promises them 10,000 plus 10,000 after 1 week, they take this money and place it there. You give them 100,000. It is this money, quick money, that has been the central minds of an average Nigerian. And the law is in place. And therefore, once this Senate is able to nip this on the bud, call these security agencies to questions, direct them, and making sure that if this thing continues to happen, then the Parliament has its own option. And I think this particular motion is commendable and is apt, is timely.
There was the one they used to call Omana in Port Harcourt. And when eventually the security agencies woke up, if you carry 50,000 to them, in 1 week they will give you another 50,000. And then they will tell you, they will encourage you to put it back. So you don't have 100,000. And they will give you a paper. In another week, you go back, you now have 200,000. They will tell you to put it back. But if you insist, they will collect from A and give to B, and collect from B and give to C, and then money will now return. And then they will give you additional interest. So eventually when the security services swapped on them, they found out that they didn't even know how to store the money. Most of the notes were eaten by rats because they just hired warehouses and packed the money. And they were spending on themselves, buying properties. When you come to look for your money, they go to the warehouse and draw Ghana must go. And sometimes half of the money would have decayed and all that. It was such a terrible nightmare. And many Nigerians committed suicide when they lost their monies. So the collapse of that financial system should have taught us a lesson. But no. In this time now, we are still seeing students carrying their pocket monies, collecting monies from their parents for medicals, and going to dump in all sorts of PONZI schemes. And then you see, at a go, a group will make away with 1.8 trillion from the country, and no action seems to be taken. We would like to see them brought to book. And we need to, like Senator Abiru said, we need to educate our constituents. So part of my recommendation with this beautiful motion will be that we should also organize a major public outing, even if we have to do it in different zones of the country, to enable us educate our populace and educate our constituents so that we can avoid unnecessary suicide and avoid also unnecessary scamming of the Nigerian citizens, whilst at the same time alerting the security agencies and the Central Bank of Nigeria to their responsibilities to protect the welfare and the lives and security of all our citizens, as enshrined in Section 14, subsection B of the Nigerian Constitution. Those in support of the prayer as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the Senate refers this prayer as amended to the Joint Committees on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, Capital Markets, Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes, ICT and Cybersecurity to undertake extensive investigation.